Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SALTcast, where every Monday we have been discussing what's happening right now in the Masters Alliance War scene. There are no more wars to play. Season 45 has come to an end, and we are ready to crown a war champion. A couple of notes about the program today. I was originally supposed to have Encyclopedia on to have these discussions with him. Fortunately, he ended up catching COVID, so he's recovering right now. I do get to speak with him and Triple U at the end of the program, where we get to say some goodbyes and try and get you guys' opinion on the future of this channel. We also have a very special interview with LVT leader and content creator Lizer. So a lot to be looking forward to in this episode. We're about to get into our Masters ceremony where we crown the top 20 alliances of Season 45. A couple of questions that we've been having all season. Is GT40 going to remain dominant like they have the rest of the season? Who's going to be taking the final two podium spots at 2 and 3? Lots and lots of alliances fighting for that top 10 spot. Salty, SSX, New Nation, tons of alliances that were in the running, so we'll be able to see those results as well as some people that were fighting for top 20. See if Loki was managing to stay in Masters along with DSVG. It's been a very interesting season. Several unexpected results along the way. Nobody getting really close to a perfect season other than GT40, but we'll discuss the results from their last two wars as well. Without further ado, guys, we're going to go ahead and move over to the banquet hall, where we will have our Masters ceremony for Season 45 underway. Thank you so much for tuning in. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would not mind just taking your seats, the ceremony will begin momentarily. Introducing the top 20 alliances and your masterclass of Season 45. Starting out at number 20, we have SSX with a score of 6 and 6 and 35 deaths. We have DLL from Episode 4 representing. At number 19, we have CIRR with a score of 7 and 5 and 113 deaths. At number 18, we have VNT with a score of 9-3 and 159 deaths. At number 17, we have Kenobi with a score of 7-5 and 147 deaths. We have DD13 at spot number 16, score of 7-5 and 136 deaths. With a score of 7-5 and 107 deaths, we have Chaos taking spot number 15. EBR comes in at number 14 with a score of 7-5 and 101 deaths. At number 13, we have GGIR, score of 7-5, 87 deaths. Score of 7-5 and 54 deaths, we have 4 Loki at the number 12 spot, with Trappy from Episode 4 representing. At number 11, we have New Nation, score of 7-5, 41 deaths, Fintech to accept the 11th place. At number 10, we have LOXC with a score of 8-4, 102 deaths. Zine coming in at number 9 with a score of 8-4 and 132 deaths. Nefty getting spot number 8, 8-4 as well with only 78 deaths. Score of 8 and 4, 67 deaths, we have SGA1 coming at number 7. At spot number 6, we have PBT with a score of 8-4 and 56 deaths. At spot number 5, we have Salty, score of 8-4, 31 deaths. We have Fias from episode 2, claiming his reward. At number 4, we have AF with a score of 9-3 and 76 deaths. XK9 taking spot number 3 with 9-3 and 61 deaths. At spot number 2, we have LVT, score of 9-3, 28 deaths. We have Lizer, leader of the Alliance, here to accept second place. And your war champion, GT40, score of 10-2 and 79 deaths for the 14th time in history. These are your Masters Alliances. A giant congratulations to all on this achievement. In conclusion, GT40 have had an absolutely dominant season. Up to War 10 or so, they are averaging just 1 death per war. So, by War 11, they were able to throw 10 deaths against LVT. And then in War 12, literally throwing 100 deaths in War 12 against XK9. And they were still guaranteed a victory. That was just how dominant they have been this season, and nobody has really come close. No question, they are the best alliance in MCOC history. Again, just reiterating, they have been war champion 14 times. Nobody else has come close to that number, and they make it look easy. Second place, LVT, which has smashed all of their second half of the season, rightfully claiming the second highest attack bonus. Technically the first, but if you don't count War 12, GT40 dropping 100, they get second. And this is their first podium finish ever. XK9, who ended up getting third place in the podium, had a very strong season, silencing some of their haters whenever it comes to, the disagreements people have had about their matchmaking. The question people have right now is, would they have done just as well if GT didn't throw 100 deaths in the final war against them? But if you do look at the numbers, the answer is they would have still done quite well. Looking at the top 10, Salty in particular, still performing very strong. Even their bad season still landed them top 3 in attack bonuses for the season. Really just came down to a couple of key wars. It really could have been, if they had just one of them swung the other way, they could have easily had a podium spot. But, reaching back to XK9, they were the ones who took one off Salty. So, again, well-deserved. Looking at the others in top 10, AF, PBT, SGA, and Nefty all having very good results. Really just the difference between them and podium is just a tiny bit of consistency. If they can manage to be able to play their best in a few more of their wars, we could see some more contenders. There's going to be some eyes on the alliances Zine and LOXC to see if they're going to be able to manage top 10 in future seasons whenever matchmaking gets adjusted. Again, just looking at these alliances who are still having these 100+ deaths. So for the alliances who ranked 11 through 20, first looking at Noon here, they had a very impressive 41 death season, which would put them in the top 5 for attack bonuses for the season, but ending up in the bottom 10 of Masters, kind of leading people to have discussions about the current matchmaking system. And even to a larger degree when it comes to SSX, who performed even better. Looks like 35 deaths. Yeah, still barely getting into Masters, claiming spot number 20. So, really just keep a good eye on these alliances who have been doing well with their deaths throughout the season, but still not getting the results that they were hoping for. For Loki, we're one of the ones who managed to upset SSX in War 12 and managed to claim their spot in Masters after kind of teetering the edge last week. DSVG were less fortunate, unable to win their final two wars, and are now ranked Platinum 1. GGIR claimed their second Masters title, falling just short of top 10. They weren't able to get their last war, and but yeah, big congratulations to making it into Masters again. More eyes on the alliances with 100 plus deaths: EBR, Chaos, DD13, Kenobi, VNT, and CIRR. We'll just have to see how they perform in the future, and if any of the adjustments to matchmaking will have any effects on where they end up in future seasons. At this point, we are lucky enough to have Lizer here to for this award ceremony. We're going to have a discussion with her and see what their season was like at LVT. Today we've got Lizer, who is the alliance leader at LVT, and very active and long-time member of the content creator and YouTube community. Very honored to have you here. Thank you so much for making time to be on SALTcast, Lizer.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so I really was excited to get this opportunity. LVT has had just a really, really great season. This is your first time getting podium at LVT, that's right?
Yep, that's right. It's the first time.
That's so great. And tell me about it. I know that at the very start of the season, I know that you did really well. There was 3 wins in a row. You know, a really good win against New Nation, and then Wars the second week, Wars 4, 5, and 6. You lost 3 times in a row, all due to ties. What did that kind of like? I mean, it certainly didn't look like it hit you guys. At least your determination through the rest of the season, because you ended up winning all of those wars. But how are you guys feeling whenever you were lost on time? At that point, half of your wars.
I mean, the second week of this season was just so frustrating. Like we went into it, I think we were tied with GT40 for attack bonuses on the season. So it was like pretty much tied for first. And then we went in and we lost to GT40 on time. But they had a disconnect. So it was like in game, it was a loss on time, but really like, they deserved the win, obviously. And then the second one was against Nefty. That one was really frustrating. We had 2 different people in like 10 minutes not have do not disturb on or something for their like during their war fights and got kicked out of the game. And then the third one was against you guys, and that was also a loss on time. So after week 2, we had pretty much just given up on podium for the season. We were like, all right, well, we had our chance and we blew it. And then, like week 3 rolled around and we were just, trying to get refocused, and we ended up winning out the rest of the season, which, we played well. I think we had the second best attack bonuses in Masters, but a little bit of it was luck, with like matchmaking and the time, like the way everything kind of worked out. Like with our rematch with GT40 and stuff like that. So it went from a really exciting season to feeling like a really sad season, and then back to exciting again. So, really, really happy with the results, obviously, and really proud of everyone in the alliance.
Yeah, I mean a little bit of a roller coaster from week 1 to week 2, then finally things working out at the very end.
Right.
I definitely don't think it's lucky. I mean, you guys did have the second, actually the best alliance attack bonus score if you count war number 12 with GT40, but
Right, which I yeah.
but over the course of the if you only count to maybe war 11 then, but second, but yeah, you guys
Mhm.
did extremely well, and we've been talking about you all this whole season, saying that we really do think that LVT is a top alliance now. You guys have been fighting for several seasons, trying to get into podium, and people have always recognized that you had to either had the potential or should be there. So that's
Right.
very exciting that it ended up working out. And so tell me, you all of your losses this season were on time. Do you think that's something you guys feel like is worth addressing for future seasons, or are you going to continue just to kind of play your game and just get as many attack bonuses as possible?
Right. So I definitely think it's worth addressing. Like in week one, we were relatively competitive on time. I think we also won like a war or two, like a tiebreaker on time that did go in our favor. But
Hmm.
it's definitely something that we need to address. I think it's just about coming up with like the skills and the I mean, LVT is like a relatively young alliance. You know, we have like a lot of experience with like Taters. He planned in for Loki for a very long time. Um, I planned in for Loki for not a really long time, but kind of a long time. And then we've just kind of been learning as we go. So I think it's something that we are interested in addressing, that we're trying to address. I just don't think we've been very effective at it yet. And it's kind of finding the balance between, okay, how do we make sure that we're still getting all of our attack bonuses and also doing better with like the time aspect of things. So I think it's something we're trying to learn right now. It's definitely not easy, but I think we'll definitely get there. I'm hoping we'll get there next season, just with some like rank up decisions we've all made in the off season to try to help.
Yeah. Do you think whenever you get to a certain level of the game, um, in regards to Alliance War anyway, do you think it's worth taking risks to try and speed up time? Or at least maybe against specific opponents, say a GT40 or a Salty or any number of alliances that, could potentially end up with like a 0 or 1 death score.
Right. So I do definitely think that it's worth taking some risks there. I think it's kind of weird for us right now because like if we match GT40, like we know that we're not going to win on time. They're just really fast, and that's like kind of without trying to be fast. So like if they see that it's going to be a tie and they see that they need to speed things up, like I feel like they're better equipped to deal with that. So against an alliance like GT40 or Salty, we kind of hope for a mistake on their end. And we've done some things in the past, like against GT. I think it was Tater's idea. There was like during like prowess power, there was like Zemo was a pretty tricky defender at the time.
Hmm.
So we kind of set up our bands around Zemo, and we knew that we weren't going to win on time. So we placed like two Zemos in two different battle groups. Like, so it was worth less than one attack bonus. So if we tied, we knew we were going to lose anyway, but we were trying to leverage that specific matchup.
Hmm.
Um, but as far as like taking risks against alliances like GT40 and Salty, I don't know that it's worth it for us, but against other alliances that I think would die a little bit more, it probably is worth it for us to take some risks on matchups and go for more like nuke options instead of the safer, slower options.
I think that was really interesting how you said you really targeted your one specific defender against a GT40. You really put
Mhm.
all your bets onto like this Zemo, designing your bands and stuff around them, and that's like
Yeah,
a strategy specific for that war. Do you think that's
right.
something that's fairly common whenever you're facing alliances? You try to change up your band and defensive placement strategies for them.
Yeah, definitely. Like last season, we knew that GT40 was ghosting pretty much everything. And we knew that you guys were using a lot of Kitty Pride. So we definitely switched up placements for those two wars. When we matched SSX, we changed our bands for them too. But there's probably like 5 alliances that we get a little bit anxious about matching, like excited, but still, like, okay, we have to win this and it's going to be close. Um, and for alliances like that, we definitely switch up our band strategies and our defensive placements based on what we've kind of heard that they've been doing and, the answers that we feel like they've been coming up with to certain problem matchups. And sometimes it's effective and sometimes it's not, but that's more of like a Taters. Like Taters is very strategic. He came up with like the leveraging the Zemo thing against GT40 and ultimately it didn't pay off, but it was definitely worth a shot. We weren't going to win that war on time. Um, so I do think that stuff like that is what makes Alliance War so interesting, is kind of trying to target specific kills. At the top of Alliance War, you know this just as well as anyone, like, you're not going to get a kill with every defender on the map. Like, not every defender is going to get a kill. Most defenders are placed, to kind of force a matchup or to split a path and try to force a compromise somewhere. But yeah, like if you have a couple defenders that you really want to like leverage kills and, try to pick up kills with a couple specific placements, like then yeah, you should be designing your bands around those placements.
That's really interesting. Do you notice anybody kind of doing the same thing when they face you?
Yeah, actually in War 12, the alliance that we faced, we actually had the same bands as them, and they were kind of trying to leverage the like the path 5 nodes, like the oh, what is it called? Like the node, like I think it's node 5, like the one where you knock them down, and or it's not node 5, but you knock them down and they go debuff immune.
Right.
And then like node 38 Sasquatch, like they designed their bands around those placements. And it was really good. It was probably the hardest map with their bands that I planned for all season. So, and we didn't do very well in that war, probably because of that a little bit. So yeah, definitely
Yeah.
noticed it a bit.
Yeah, there you go. It's definitely very interesting when it comes to planning that there are multiple ways of kind of going about it. And
Hmm.
it really just can depend on who you're facing. So adjusting your strategies to, the match in front of you. There's definitely a lot of discussions that could be had about that. And I'm sure that you and some of the other officers have spent a fair amount of time having those discussions.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me what that was like when start of the season. I think maybe Taters was taking a step back, and then you um kind of step up into this leadership position, working with the other officers. Uh, what was that process like, and how did you end up leading to the most successful season yet?
Well, Taters ended up taking a step back last season. So not
Okay.
this one that just passed, but the one before that. I think after War One, he said that he needed a break. And that was really scary because he had been planning for 2 of the 3 battle groups. And I was just planning for one. And so when he left, he just kind of said like, I'm really, and I know Taters really well. I know that if there was any other way for him to have taken a step back and not hurt the alliance, he would have done that. But he basically asked one of the other officers to plan for one of the groups. He asked me if I could step in and plan for a second group, and he brought in a replacement that we played with in For Loki, who's who's very skilled, very, very like one of the top 3 players in our alliance. And he was just like, hey, like, I'm really sorry. This is something I just need to do. And it was kind of all hands on deck at that point. Like, all of the officers came together. The other officer, Crustum, who he asked to plan for Battle Group 1, really stepped up and actually tied the like battle group death record, like for the Alliance in his first season planning, and then he completely shattered that record in his second season planning, which was last season. And yeah, I think it's just been like a collaborative effort with all of us working together, and we kind of knew it was going to be sink or swim, and I think everyone just really bought in and buckled down, and we were checking each other's work for everything we did, and then like last season we were able to refine it a little bit more, which is I think why we were so successful. Taters came back this last season. He ended up planning for his battle group. So for the first time ever, we had 3 planners planning for 3 different battle groups. So everyone could really put 100% of their focus on one group. And it ended up being like, I think, our best season ever. We just played really well. We all worked really well together. And, I don't take credit for any of it. It's such a team effort. There's no like I might be like the leader in game, but every decision that we make, whether it's bans or defensive placements or bosses, like it's all collaborative. It's all stuff that we talk about together. And I think that that's just made us stronger since it's become a more collaborative effort.
Yeah. I've been a really big fan of your alliance since it started, and it's always been. We always knew that whenever we faced you, even by like maybe your second season, by then we all knew that like you had to play your best whenever facing LVT.
Yeah.
Um, so seeing you guys really get some great results. I would love to see you guys push for a war champ at some point. You were saying at the beginning, you guys were basically tied with GT for a good bit there. Um,
Yeah.
and not only tied in your war, but tied for like with attack bonuses throughout the season. Of course, GT40 ended up having just I think maybe even their best season yet. This season,
Yeah.
they were
They
averaging
were
about
amazing this season.
Yeah, averaging about 1 death per war. It's pretty incredible, I think. But
Yeah.
I don't blame them for them giving up 100 in that last one. But
No, no, not at all.
yeah, yeah,
They earned it.
that was funny because we were watching that, and I was like looking at the matchups, and it's like, wait a minute, there's actually a chance we get podium, and then it's like, no, there isn't. Somebody showed me a screenshot from the GT40 war, and it was like
Oh my gosh.
it was like 70 deaths, 50 fights in. And I was like, oh, never mind,
Yeah.
guys. We're fighting for top 10.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, they kind of decided podium this season, like since they put themselves in such a strong position after War 10, they didn't give up 100 deaths against us. They gave up 10, but they were mostly just messing around, bringing in weird counters, and they definitely weren't like boosting or, trying hard in those last 2 wars. But War 12, the 100 deaths was just hilarious.
Yeah, it's like, oh, never mind. Just go and shoot that down. I mean, of course, they had already planned, and just yeah, we're not gonna do anything for this last one because we got it set in. So really, it's
Right.
up to matchmaking at that point, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's definitely been an interesting season. Some alliances, having some weird placements and stuff. But
Yeah.
getting back to just LVT and everything, can you kind of just go back to like when you guys started this alliance, how some people were, how did the idea to bring up LVT, with, kind of people shifting over from For Loki and the kind of connections you had made from there? What was this meant to be, just a more war focused For Loki, or what do you think?
Yeah. So Taters created LVT. He came up with the idea for it. He had taken a break in For Loki. He came back the following season, and he just really was not enjoying certain parts of the game. You know, certain aspects of the game of the alliance, just in general. You know, I mean, like AQ was a really big pain point for a lot of us because it cost AQ tickets back then, and you know, so we're earning all of these rank up resources from AQ, but we were spending all of our gold on AQ tickets. And Taters is my closest friend in game, you know, and it's not particularly close. So he kind of told me what he was going to do. I was needing a break. I was feeling a little bit burnt out. So I decided to leave with him. And my original plan was to just kind of chill in LVT. It was like a very low, I think we were in like tier 10 or something like that. And I had like a family vacation coming up. I was house hunting. We were looking to buy a home. Um, so I was just like, oh, okay, like, you know, no AQ, um, you know, easy war. I can handle this, you know. So I went ahead and joined, and the goal was always to be like a no event minimum, alliance war focused alliance. Like that's the only um like stated goal of the alliance is to just be good in alliance war, and the eventual goal was always to be like a podium alliance, to be an alliance that could compete with GT40, with Salty, with New Nation, with alliances like that, and have like, you know, a pretty good culture. Like For Loki has a pretty good culture, for the most part, and you know, but with like a higher level of like accountability, and you know, people kind of know what the expectations are in LVT, and they know that if they don't meet them, like, you know, it's very rare that we have to let anyone go. If somebody falls short of the expectations, they'll come to us usually and say, "Hey, I know I fell short. I'm going to take a season off, you know, regroup a little bit. If you guys would have me back, I'd love to come back." Like that happens more often than you'd think. So, you know, it's always just been to have a close group of people who enjoy Alliance War and want to perform well and rank for Alliance War, like ranked champions for Alliance War. So, yeah, it started out pretty laid back, and then, you know, I think we pretty quickly got into tier 1. We had a handful of people from our battle group in For Loki, where when Taters and I both left, they left as well. And yeah, I mean, like most of those people are still here. A few people have like left or retired. You know, we still have a handful of people who have been here since day one. And yeah, like the whole goal of the alliance is to just be competitive in alliance war and to try to have fun doing it. So, you know, that's kind of how we got started. That was the goal. So it's interesting now after all this time. I think it's been like a year and a half since we started. To finally get over the hump and hit podium has been really nice.
Yeah, it's a really kind of cool story. You know, starting this thing up with your friends and everything, and people who want to play the game in a similar way as you. And you know, all props to you. You got a really talented team and been able to lead them very well. So
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, and I know that you have a great relationship with everybody there. I can talk to anybody from LVT, and they only sing praises for you and Taters and everybody else. So, um, you know, creating an alliance culture is something that I've been kind of interested in recently.
Hmm.
Um, what are your thoughts a little bit on, you know, when it comes, I don't know how much experience you have with dealing with other alliances, especially in maybe Masters. Um, Do you see that there's a really big difference between different personalities and alliances and everything? Do you think that, you know, LVT is drastically different from the people who are over at GT40? Or do you think we're all kind of just playing the same game and, you know, we're all
Um, yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question. I definitely think there's a difference between LVT and GT40. Um, GT40, I think, is primarily made up of like much younger people. Um, just like a group of friends who, I mean, there's like a lot of like trolling and I mean, we all joke around and kind of make fun of each other a little bit. And I know that at the core of GT40, there's like a lot of joking and poking fun, but at the end of the day, they're really supportive of one another and care about each other a lot. Um, I feel like LVT, we obviously care about each other a lot, but we kind of cut out probably like 90% of the trolling that GT40 does. Like if somebody dies in war, it's more of like a, hey, this is what you could have done differently, but okay, we're a team, let's like move forward. It's more of like trying to create learning experiences from those things. And part of that could be like, the every alliance has like a skill, like an average skill of like all of the members. Not every member in every alliance is going to bring the same skill level to the table, but people bring different things to the table. So I'm certainly not the most skilled player in this game or even close to it. I'm probably right around in the middle of the alliance, but I have other things that I can offer. And some people in LVT might have like the skill, but not necessarily like the game knowledge or like the understanding of why a fight didn't go the way that they thought it would go or thought it should go. So everyone else, like having like if we die in war, there's like a high level of accountability. We post the death in main chat. That was something that was really important to us, so that it's not like I've been in alliances before where someone dies and you're kind of looking around like, hey, who died? What happened? We were winning, now we're losing. We didn't want that type of like undertone or, that like little resentments to bubble up. So if somebody dies, they're just open with it. They post the video and then everyone offers feedback. So it's really just like a group of 30 people trying to get better and like help each other get better. Um, I can't speak too much on how
yeah.
similar or different that is from every other Masters alliance in the game, but it's different than an alliance that I've been in before personally.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting spot. I think um, it's something I've more just so been curious about, just kind of learning more about more alliance and stuff as I've been doing this program.
Mhm.
Um, I know I actually went back and listened to quite a bit of your interview with Vega that you had a year and a half ago, and you were pointing out how, at least back then, that cheating was still a big problem.
Mhm.
I know recently they've made a lot of improvements with that, with you know, giving out bans or punishments to members or alliances of people who were um, participating in TOS breaking activity and stuff. Do you think that
Mhm.
Alliance War is at a better spot in that regard?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I could just be being naive because I don't know everything that goes on in every alliance, obviously. I don't know 95% of what goes on in any alliance besides LVT. So, but from what I can gather, like getting to know, I think like the entire community better and kind of breaking out of that, kind of bubble that maybe I was in before, with only really talking to like a few, like I wasn't in any community chats or anything like that. But you can tell just based on like the doc lists that come out, or any more don't come out. I really do think that Alliance War has cleaned up a ton, especially since early on in like in the like war season. I don't know how long you've been playing in Tier 1, but when I first started in SSX, it felt like, maybe 50% or more of Masters Alliances were piloting or, doing something, and maybe, a certain percentage of them were getting docked every season, and that just isn't the case anymore. It's not, it's more frowned upon in the entire community now, I think, to cheat in Alliance War or Battlegrounds or anything like that. So I definitely think it's gotten a lot cleaner, at least in the last year or since I've been paying more attention to it.
Yeah. I think it's improved dramatically as well.
Mhm.
And like people have other things they complain about still. They've also addressed, the shelling aspect of the game. It looks
Yeah.
like looks like they're cleaning up that a little bit.
Yeah,
There's
that was
still
that
some.
was another thing that I was really happy that Kabam did, because the shelling to me was almost, just as bad. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe not just as bad, but it was pretty close. It was very frustrating to have a really good season, lose a couple tough wars, and get passed by somebody who was facing people in Platinum too, for half the season. So I
Yeah.
definitely
Uh,
appreciate that.
and using any other kind of matchmaking tricks, and of course, they didn't get quite all of their matchmaking fixes this month that
Hmm.
they were hoping for, but
Right.
um, there are some places where we can see some improvement. But you know, I do think it is a good look for Alliance War in general. As someone, at least if I speak for myself, like Alliance War really is probably what keeps me coming back to this game. Um, Just, I mean, yeah, I love playing Battlegrounds and story content and stuff, but being able to accomplish something with a team is, for me, was like the biggest attraction. And
Yes.
cleaning up that part of the game so that you actually feel like you can achieve something with your team, uh, was has been very welcome, I think.
Yeah. I
Um,
completely agree with you there.
would you say that war is what, I mean, you've said that for, sorry, LVT is really his only goal is war. Would you say war is what keeps you coming back, or just playing with your friends, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think the two definitely go hand in hand. I play Battlegrounds pretty casually. I'm not playing very much this season because I don't care for the power gain metas and stuff very much. But as far as Alliance War goes, that competitive kind of, it feels like high stakes team. You get the team wins and the team losses together, where it feels like everyone's kind of bought in and sharing in the excitement and the disappointments and stuff. That's definitely what keeps me motivated to play the game. It's what keeps me motivated to do things like story content and, battlegrounds and stuff, for rank up resources for Alliance War. It's what motivates me to even spend money in this game, to make sure that my defense and attack teams and stuff are remaining relevant and competitive. So yeah, I definitely think that Alliance War is what keeps me interested in this game after this many years.
Yeah. Is there anything that you wish that any improvements or anything that you wish that could still be made to Alliance War, or are you pretty happy with how things are right now?
I think I'm pretty happy with where things are right now. I guess one improvement that I wish they would make is shrinking down tier 1 a little bit. I'm not sure if you remember this, but a few years ago they halved everybody's war ratings because the war ratings at the very top were getting a little too out of whack.
Hmm.
So they cut everyone's war ratings in half, and we had a season that was kind of weird. Everyone got really weird matches, but then it kind of ended up forming into the tiers that we have now. Um, and I feel like, a lot of the complaints and stuff that people have in tier 1 is, that people, if you look at the war rating leaderboard in game, there's like 4 alliances that are right around 4,000, and then there's a pretty steep drop off. And then maybe there's like, I don't know how many, I'm just going to guess like 15, 20 alliances that are all kind of within like the 3,700 range. And then there's another steep drop off, but it's all tier 1, so everyone's getting the same multiplier. And I know that there was some complaints from people in like SSX who had an amazing season. I think they were like 4th best attack bonuses on the season or something like that. And they got 20th in Masters, while alliances who had significantly more deaths with them but didn't have to match the same competition were finishing in the top 10. So I'd like to see them either have the war ratings to get the tiers a little bit more accurate again, or maybe just like reduce the amount of alliances that are in tier 1, to ensure that stuff like that doesn't happen as much anymore. I think that if all of those alliances that are on like the very bottom of tier 1 weren't getting the tier 1 multiplier, that the leaderboard would have looked a lot different this season. So, that's a small change, but overall, I think I'm pretty happy with where Alliance War is at right now.
Yeah, I was speaking to DLL in our last episode about the matchmaking, and um, as someone who's involved at Kabam as well as at SSX, who probably maybe got shafted the most because of it. Yeah, they it does sound like that they do want to kind of work on that some more. Of course, remove the rematches. Will probably do a lot. That way you're not having, say, Nefty, they had to face GT40 multiple times this season. Maybe they would have had a better season if that wasn't the case.
Right.
And yeah, I do agree with you though. I do think that while maybe some more things with matchmaking need some tuning, I do think that Alliance War is at a really good spot, competitively at least. There's a lot of talent in the upper alliances and stuff, and while maybe some of the rankings and stuff aren't truly accurate of where people are, um, the spirit of the game I thought has been really great.
Yeah.
Playing all these people who are how we kind of circled back to the cheating thing. Being much less of a factor has made every war more enjoyable.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. And
well,
it feels like, every war really matters quite a bit. And for a game mode, like if I play like a round of Battlegrounds, I don't feel nervous going into that match because I know that nobody's counting on me to win or lose. Like I know that, if I win, it's like, okay, I lose a couple points, I can make them back. But like for a game mode in a game this old, to still give that same like nervous energy feeling, this long after starting to play and compete in the mode, I think that just says a lot about how special the game mode is and how interesting Alliance War is, and could be even more interesting with a couple little tweaks, I think. So yeah, I definitely think I definitely agree with you there.
Lizer, it's been really great to talk to you. Everybody, if I know that odds are probably low, but if for some reason you're watching my channel and you're not subscribed to Lizer, go ahead, go over to Lizer's channel. We have her link to her channel down in the description. Really great videos. Probably one of the best Omega Red players in the world. So lots of insight for top alliances, the things that are going on in LVT, rich history in the MCUC community. Liza, again, thank you so much for coming on SALTcast today. Congratulations on a second place finish. We're really looking forward to see what LVT and yourself are going to be doing in the coming seasons.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, well, you're going to be welcome back anytime. Thank you again. I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
Thus concludes our award ceremony for season 45. Just a big shout out to everybody who has been watching the channel ever since the beginning of the season. It's been a whole lot of fun to cover all of the war news. So many interesting results and stuff. Big congratulations to everybody who've made masters or able to meet their goals. Definitely a big achievement. We love just seeing how things end up in this season. Great to talk to Lizer too. Very special for LVT to get podium. They had a really, really great season. I wonder how they would have done without some of those ties being lost. But as for the future, getting into more of the sad part here, but I'm gonna go. We have all of our casts here, Triple and Encyclopedia, finally getting to talk to each other all at the same time. Triple, start with you. You've got plans for after this season. I think you're gonna retire for a bit. Is that right?
Yes, sir. So I am going on like a little vacation type thing where even if I wanted to play, which frankly I don't, I want to like take a little step away just to enjoy the trip. But even if I wanted to, I would not be able to play. So obviously, not being able to play is not a good combo for war. So yeah, we'll be stepping away just for a season and just, enjoying the game and life outside of rigorous activity deadlines, which I think is going to be kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely love this season. It was a lot of fun just getting to play with everybody. And especially near the end when I realized that I wasn't going to be playing next season, just kind of getting to take it all in was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really appreciate you doing this stuff with me. You've really helped a lot. And I know you ended up kind of getting busy towards the end of it, and that was perfectly fine. Everything that you did behind the scenes to contribute was really appreciated. And I'm glad we got to grow a little closer too.
Hey, well, I appreciate it, man. This is a lot of fun because, and thank you for taking on all this responsibility because especially after like I left, I was just like, here are these cool people you can interview. Now go do it because I can't. And you just did such a good job of like bringing out that information. Like honestly, I've only watched I think 2/3 of the DLL interview so far. I'm still trying to work my way through it because I had finals and all that stuff. But the stuff that's being put out on this podcast that just like literally I've never seen anywhere else. So like this is your brainchild and you absolutely killed it.
Thanks, man. I hope people are enjoying it. I hope it can bring some value. And um, yeah, we'll talk about some of the future plans too. But Encyclopedia, you're going to be sticking around at Salty, right? And
Absolutely. I tried retirement. It didn't really suit me. And for the 2 seasons I left salty for a bit, you guys go and get first and second, and I am still incredibly salty about missing out on that title. So I will be hanging around for the foreseeable future.
until he's no longer Salty, that's where he'll be staying.
I'm always salty.
uh, Encyclopedia, you've put probably the most work into this out of everybody. I really couldn't have done it without you. I mean, like, I was just like, somebody dropped out, and I was like, "Hey, can I throw this on you?" And you're like, "Yeah, no problem." That was so valuable. Like, we knew each other before we started doing this, but like, I felt like we kind of became friends and stuff. And yeah, you were really collaborative on this whole project. So thank you very much.
It's been great fun to do, and it's been fun to talk to some different people, outside my battle group, outside the alliance, and as Triple was saying, really getting some insight on something you just never heard of before. Like who knew DLL played the trombone?
Yeah.
Just that completely random thing from out of nowhere. But it's been good fun, and I do hope we keep doing it either sort of more or less, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So, people who don't know Salty's situation, of course, they're having quite a few people leave, probably spurred on by Fios, who leads BG1. He's going to be retiring for probably about a year or so, and yeah, I'm going to be one of them. I've decided I'm going to take a break from Salty for a while, try and branch out and learn things about a couple other, at least one other alliance. I'm going to be going to New Nation next season. I'm really looking forward to it. I've talked to the guys there, and I think it's going to be a good time. They're really driven, and I'm excited to play with them. As for the future of SALTcast, it's still kind of up in the air right now. I don't know if we're just going to change the name and spin it, or if we're going to stop doing it, or just, try and change things up a little bit. We've played with the idea of splitting up War News and the interview to be two separate things. I think some feedback I got was that really people only cared about one thing or the other. So we'll definitely take some things into consideration. I'm kind of hoping we get a long off season so that we can kind of make those plans and evaluate. But until then, we're just gonna have to see. But I do want to say thank you to both of you one more time. It's been a whole lot of fun.
It's been good fun to do it.
Thank you for having us,
Yeah.
man.
Lou, Encyclopedia. Sorry, your line name is Lou.
Don't worry.
I do it all the time. Like, which one am I supposed to call him? And yeah, take care. Thanks for salting back for me. I love those guys. I wanted to say that playing at Salty has been the best experience of this game so far. I kind of owe everything to that alliance and the leaders of that alliance. Really big thank you to SG, Salty's leader, to Fias, my BG leader, and to Deathly Shield, who's no longer there, but he helped recruit me, and those three were kind of the trifecta of what made Salty great for so long. So great people to play with. Everyone at Salty, I mean, just the atmosphere. I want to make a comment that the culture of Salty is top notch. I don't know if you guys have had similar experiences.
There is a reason I am not in many other chats.
I mean, Salty is the only Masters Alliance I've been in besides my favorite Masters Alliance, which super biased was my own, believe it or not. But yeah, Salty is just it's always been a fun place, but more so it's been like a place where people want to make sure that we want to be as good as possible, but we also want to be as good as possible together. So I've always really enjoyed the communal aspect to it as well. In addition to stuff like I guess getting War Champ wasn't bad. Sorry, Lou. But yeah, other than that, like, I mean, nothing but good things to say about Salty. Like, had some really great experiences there, and I would not, I think, same as you, be anywhere near what I am today without Salty.
Yeah. Yeah, getting War Champion. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I really needed the validation, but it really did kind of wrap things up for me in a nice way. That finally in season 43, getting come back and finally getting to win something and knowing that for yourself that you could be a champion. And I'm really glad that it happened at Salty because I really love those guys so much. It's going to be sad to leave, but I am looking forward to the next step. One last thank you. Thank you to all of our viewers. If you want to see this program continue in the future, let me know down in the comments. We have a lot of evaluating to do in the meantime, but we've gotten a lot of positive responses, and we're definitely looking to it. Yeah, I look forward to at least doing something similar in the future. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. All right, here we go.